In the heart of Minas Gerais, Brazil, stands a place where silence screams louder than any human voice. This is the colony hospital of Barbacena for decades. Its decaying walls and locked iron gates guarded a secret so terrible. It has been called the Brazilian Holocaust. Behind these gates, a city of the forgotten was built. Not to heal, but to erase. The story begins with a promise of care, the sanctuary for the mentally ill. But reality was a descent into a living nightmare. Look at these photographs, overcrowded wards, where human beings were packed together like animals, cold. Empty eyes staring from behind barred windows. These were not all people with mental illnesses. In fact, it's estimated that over 70% had no psychiatric diagnosis at all. They were the inconvenient, the unwanted, the poor, the homeless, pregnant, unmarried women, political dissidents, rebellious children, anyone who didn't fit society's rigid mold. They were sent here to be forgotten. Life inside the colony was a brutal struggle for survival. Patients were stripped of their clothes, their names, their dignity. They were forced to endure freezing temperatures without blankets. Chronic hunger and rampant disease. The sanitation was non-existent. They drank from sewage drains and slept on beds of straw. The air was thick with the stench of despair and death. This wasn't a hospital. It was a concentration camp disguised as a medical institution. The systematic neglect was a death sentence. Over 60,000 souls perished within these walls. 60,000 lives, extinguished by cruelty and indifference. But the horror didn't end with death. The hospitals. Administration found a way to profit from the tragedy. The bodies, often unidentified, were sold illegally to medical schools across the country. When the demand for corpses was low, they were simply dissolved in acid or buried in mass graves. Families who dared to search for their loved ones were met with a wall of silence. Their letters went unanswered, their pleas ignored. The system was designed to make people disappear. In the 1960s, a young psychiatrist named Franco Basaglia visited the colony. He was horrified, comparing it to Dante's Inferno. He said he saw a scene that reminded him of a Nazi concentration camp. His testimony was a spark. Soon after, journalist Hiram Firmino and photographer Luz Alfredo captured the unspeakable reality in a series of shocking articles and photos, exposing the horrors to the world. Their work was titled The Asylum, a branch of hell on earth. The public outcry was immense. The images of emaciated bodies and vacant stares could no longer be ignored. The Brazilian Holocaust was finally brought into the light. The work of these brave individuals initiated a psychiatric reform movement in Brazil. A fight for deinstitutionalization and humane treatment that continues to this day. They fought to give a voice to the voiceless, to restore the humanity that had been so viciously stolen. Today, the grounds of the Barbacena colony are eerily quiet. Some of the old buildings have been transformed into a museum, the Museum of Madness, ensuring that this dark chapter is never forgotten. It stands as a memorial to the 60,000 lives lost and a stark reminder of the consequences of dehumanization. The peaceful landscape of modern-day Barbacena belies the horrific legacy that still haunts this ground. Each rusty bed, each cracked wall, each fading photograph whispers a story of a life that mattered, a life that was unjustly taken. As we walk away from these silent halls, we carry with us a heavy responsibility. The story of Barbacena is not just a Brazilian tragedy. It is a human tragedy. It is a cautionary tale about what happens when we turn a blind eye to the suffering of others, when we allow society to label people as unwanted or disposable. We must remember the names that were erased, the stories that were silenced. We must fight for a world where every individual is treated with dignity and compassion. We must ensure that the gates of such a hell are never, ever allowed to open again. The memory of the 60,000 demands it. Thank you for watching. If this story has moved you, please share it. The more people who know the truth, the better we can guard against history repeating itself. Subscribe for more stories that need to be told.